What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us today on the Hard Money Bankers Live show. You got myself, Ryan, and my partner, Ian here. We're coming to you guys with a new format for our show. So we've been here for the last 3 months, hammering away, bringing you experts throughout the country, really, but also our local markets in the Philly, New Jersey, Delaware area. And as we have been big proponents of the last 3 months, of now is the time to double down on your marketing. Well, that's what we're doing. We're doing that exactly. So we're bringing you a new format. We've taken the last 3 months of feedback. We had no idea we were going to be doing this show for 3 months, in all honesty. But it's turned out to be pretty fun for us, fun for you guys, lots of good information. We've had some great guests. But what we've realized is 30 minutes to an hour is too long. We start losing some user engagement after about 30 minutes. So we said, you know what? Let's redo the show. Let's revamp this to give our viewers more value of what they want. So we're going to come to you with this 15-minute show format, and it's going to be different every day. So we've put together some themes here. We're going to have Master Your Market Mondays, and on these days, we're going to have stories. Ian here has 15 years experience, not just inside lending. I'll be able to give more lending stories. But anyway, we're going to give you guys our wild and crazy stories. So we'll come back to that, but that's going to be our Mondays. Tuesdays are going to be tips and tricks Tuesdays. So we're going to give you inside tips and tricks on whether you're doing your own investment or property management, whatever it is. We're just going to give you something every Tuesday. Wednesdays are going to be webcast interview Wednesdays, where we bring in our special guests for the week. So you guys hear more perspective other than just Ian and I. And then Thursdays are going to be Thoughtful Thursdays, where you hear the thoughts from Ian and I, as well as your chance to promote your business. So Ian, I am very excited about this new format. How about you?
Yeah, I think most importantly, you did a really good job on the background and overlays, made up for my laziness of our other ones. So adapt and grow, and it looks better. So, but yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think keeping it shorter is better. I've always learned that, me and Jay used to do marketing at like 1 minute clips, and that sometimes didn't even get a full view, so the shorter the better in general. So it's just the world of the nature that we live in the beast of the internet. So
yeah, I mean, I do it myself, right? If I go to a channel to learn something, I got 15 minutes tops, right? And then I'm on to the next topic. Even if it's like gold information, maybe I'll come back to it, right? But maybe not. So anyway, that's the format we're going to do. And today we are going to start off with one of my favorite stories of yours. Probably because I had to go through 20 years of getting bullied by you. I'm the younger brother here, so the first 20 was tough. So when I hear stories like this, I have a little bit of a smirk on my face. Like, yeah, all right. Anyway, the story is how Ian almost got kidnapped. So this is real estate, we're starting strong in our stories for Master Your Market Mondays. But Ian, take it away.
So I also think you should have in the advertising put Ian's getting kidnapped or something. Like you really could have used
that would be good
to your advantage. Yeah, you could. The next one will be pretty good, the decapitation. But so. My background is, so I originally started 15 years ago in wholesaling, and then that streamlined into a property management company. And that was my, I always tell people, you want to be a landlord? Well, let's start with like a few stories of what you have to be able to potentially tolerate over your time. Now, so we were wholesalers. We grew into a property management company. Well, that property management company came with quite a few stories of, that people, the stuff that you only hear on TV, like it is a 1 out of 1,000 scenario, but it's still 1 out of 1,000. And if you manage enough property,
I don't think you hear this stuff on TV. I think this is what they keep away from the home network channel.
This is maybe below that, right? But anyway, so I had, I was 10 years younger, in my mid 20s, and more aggressive and just in general. So, and I didn't know I was getting into landlording. I had to be tough. I had to be whatever the hell I thought I was supposed to be. And, which is furthest from the truth, but I thought that was just building a property manager company, and I've got to be like the face or the muscle or the voice for the owners. And that's my job, but that's not really what it is. So I took it to heart though. And, decided that, when people would call me up and we were evicting them or we were at odds with them, instead of just saying like, let the courts handle it, let the attorneys handle it, it would end up being me getting aggressive and being like, you need to pay, you need to do this, like, the things that you think make you think you're a tough guy.
So it wasn't anything business strategic in what you were doing. It was
100% ego. That's why I say your ego is the most dangerous and costly thing that you can have in real estate investing. And here's just one of like the million examples before it got knocked out of my system. This was one that really like took it though down to like, there's a few incidences until my ego was completely squashed. This was like one of them. And so anyway, I have been getting into a lot of arguments with, somebody needs to pay rent. I yell at you, you yell at me. I don't know. I think it like gets me somewhere. I think I've done something in my mind, whatever. Like it feels like I accomplished something. I did my job, right? Whatever. Not the truth, but it would always die out, right? So in general, people that tend to be in these situations, not always, but tend to not, there's not a lot of stick to itness in it, right? Like it's things fade, you blow off steam, and then the next day it's over. In fact, you can probably have a decent conversation with them. So I was used to that scenario. What you don't account for is the very small percentage of people that are actually dangerous. So in this particular incident, I remember the individual, I remember the house, I remember everything, way too much about it because it just like traumatized me. But the guy, we had been evicting this guy in Northeast Philly on Cottage Street. I know exactly where it was. And he was like 3 or 4 months in, and he owed like $7,000 to the owner. And it was frustrating from our point, or I let it frustrate me, which I shouldn't have. And
so how did he get $7,000 into the owner? Like he just hasn't paid for months?
Yeah, stops paying rent. You file the eviction. You're 30 days, 60 days, maybe there's an agreement that they're going to make a payment, then they don't make the payment, 30 or 45 days later, and all of a sudden you're 90 days in, and then maybe it's $1,500 a month, maybe there's some late fees, maybe there were some damages. It adds up fast, very common. But that's how it happens. So it's just between the court system, the eviction filing costs, it's pretty easy to see that number. So anyway, he said, I need to get back in the house. I said, no problem. I said, just bring the $7,000 that you owe us, and I'll let you back in. He's like, I'm not doing that. I was like, well, then I'm not, letting you in the house. And he said, he escalated. He goes, you're gonna need to let me in the house. I need to get in the basement. And and this is me. This is like building intention as we go. The no. Yeah. So I said, you're not getting in the house unless you bring $7,000 here. You're locked out. And then he stepped up, aggressively swearing. I stepped up a little bit further, swearing back. And before you know it, it was an F you. And, I knew when he was saying I need to get in the basement by the dryer or something, I was like, clearly he needs to go in the basement to get his drugs. And it was probably a stash house. He probably had a bunch of like coke in there or something, or heroin, and he needed to pull it out of there. And, he didn't say that in the conversation, but I knew that was probably the case. So, and he knew that I probably knew. So then he's like, man, I said I wasn't going to let myself get this, like this anymore, F you. I said, F you. And then I said, I'm going to count to 3, and you're either going to bring, tell me you're bringing the $7,000 or this is done. 1, 2, 3. I hung up the phone. Right. There was me being tough. Well, here was the problem with that. So this guy was legit and dangerous. And what happened was, I had gone to the Manny Young Brewing Company, which a lot of people in Philadelphia will know where that is or what that is. And I had gone there that night, and for the first time in probably like 5 years. Like, if this wasn't like a place that I frequented, it wasn't a place that you're going to.
Is it a bar you went to? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Manny Young Brewing Company.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I was meeting some people for an investment thing. There's no like correlation to him being like, oh, well, like somebody couldn't know where I was. Right. It was pretty uneasy to know where I was unless you were trying to find me. And it wasn't like you would just bump into me at this place, or you couldn't guess that I would be here. So I go to the place, come back, whatever. I go home safe, fortunately, that night. Now, that's not the kicker. The kicker is this. The next day, my business partner at the time was walking into the office. I was not going to the office that day for whatever reason, which was pretty rare. And, he bumps into this guy sitting on the stairs, and he says, how can I help you? And the guy says his name. And my partner knew right away, because he knew what happened the day before in the conversation. So my partner knew right away who this guy was. And he's like, Ian's not here. Can I help you? He's like, I need to speak with him. And my partner's like, no, sorry, he's not here. What can I do? And the guy was like, I'm just want to let you know, last night I had my guys follow Ian to the Manny Young Brewing Company in a white van, and they called me and said, because I was there, and they were looking at me through the window, and they must have been on the phone or in the van, and said, "Do you want us to grab him when he comes out?" So, in essence, to kidnap me, put me in the van, and either beat me to a pulp or kill me. I don't know. And my partner says, "I understand what this is about. I'm going to have to call the police." He goes, "I just want to let you know before I leave, I told my guys not to grab him last night because I don't do that stuff anymore." And it was like a pretty strong message received, right, to me, because I'm like, my gosh, like all I had to do is walk out. Like it would have been like the movies, where they slide the white door van open, two guys jump out, throw you in, and poof, you're gone, right? Like that was essentially what was about to happen to me. And then from that moment forward, I realized how vulnerable. Here, the lesson was obviously, was two things. Was like, A, it's ridiculous. My ego just went like, "You think you're tough, Ian?" Boom. Like that was like, "You are not tough at all." Squash. Like you are negative tough. Like roll over. And so that was very heard loud and clear. And then also my thought was, oh my gosh, like what if somebody else in my office, this were to happen to them or whatever. So, and I know that if I'm acting like that in that capacity, it's breeding that kind of environment around me and that kind of energy. And that was a pretty eye-opening scenario for me. So we obviously it squashed my ego. And I said to the office, I said, nobody fights anymore. No more fighting, no more yelling, no more nothing. Like if somebody starts yelling, ask them to leave. We're not doing that because somebody is going to get shot or kidnapped. And it was just like, for every 100 fights you get into in this business or every 100 arguments that you're okay. So you kind of get like, well, whatever. But if you stay in this business long enough and you have enough units, you're going to run into that conversation. It will happen in some shape or form. And that's not my only one that I've ever had happen. From an argumentative standpoint, the only one that I felt like that level, was hit. But like there were other scenarios that come up that are, eventually this happens or eventually that happens. It's just you're rolling that dice every single day. And if you play it right, your risk level is extremely low of something happening. But I was playing it wrong the whole time. I was basically just every time there would be like something to, either put the fire out or put water on it, I would walk in with like a barrel of gasoline and spray a little on there, spray a little on there. And like most times it wouldn't catch me back on fire. I was far enough away, but if I do that every day, I'm eventually going to catch on fire. So,
right. So we got 2 minutes left. So I got two questions for you real quick. How did you resolve it? What did you end up doing?
That was it.
Done. I don't know, but like, did you call the police? Did you give him the keys to the place? What did you do?
Nothing. Never spoke to him again. Let the court systems handle it. If there was a sheriff that had to do a lockout, I don't remember if they did the lockout or they just vacated, but we never talked to each other again. I was completely removed from the scenario in terms of like any further decision making because I did what I should have done. I should have left the court to just handle it. Like court handles it, sheriff comes out. Like what was I doing? Like we already were this far into it. I was taking a shot to be tough and get the money for the owner and be a hero, and it was stupid.
Got it. And then two, has this helped your business since you've ego checked? Has that helped your business?
Yeah, for sure. It probably saved me like, I don't know how many thousands of dollars over the years, like by not, keeping myself in check always. And once I realized how not tough I am, how really not tough I am, and I didn't really have any reason to be tough, it just put it in perspective. For some reason, I thought I was like being the muscle. I don't know what the hell I thought.
Well, I mean, the reason why I said it though is because like, let's just say you are tough and you would do that. Let's say you are one of those individuals because real estate, you get the whole spectrum of characters here. So you might get somebody who's tough, but what you want to be taken away from this is your business will actually improve with you not doing the tough guy. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The business improves substantially from not having an ego. Yes.
So not only are you safer, A, you're safer, you and your family. B, your business is a better environment now to work with, not just you, but your coworkers, right? And then C, you are also profiting more, right?
Yeah, all of it. It's just all better. It's all better from a lack of ego. Yes.
Awesome. Ian, thanks for sharing. We're going to have more awesome stories like this on our Mondays. Tomorrow, join us for Tips and Tricks Tuesdays, and we'll give you some inside information. Anything else, Ian?
That's it.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
See ya.